Time's up. Restarting. Let's go. We're back. Raw and nerdy.
Everybody, we are back after a few weeks of being sick. I'm Rook.
And I'm Archon.
Welcome back to your favorite podcast, YouTube show, whatever you want to call it, Raw and Nerdy. So, how are you feeling, buddy?
A rough couple weeks, man.
I know, right?
Started out sick with like an upper respiratory thing going on, and it developed into pneumonia, and it's been rough. Been on antibiotics, steroids, inhalers, you name it. I've probably been on it. It's mostly gone, but I still have a little bit of a cough here and there, and it's still kind of rough. I'm going to try and get things back to normal, but it's been an interesting couple weeks, to say the least.
Yeah. As we told y'all in that short episode, we have been sick. I'm guessing, an upper respiratory infection. It took a week and a half for me to finally get to where I could actually sleep without coughing every 5 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
So anyhow, now that we're feeling better, you said you did some things during your week while we were off.
Weeks.
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 I forgot weeks.
Yeah, I couldn't really do much except for watch TV, maybe play a little bit of video games and stuff. Been playing this game, No Rest for the Wicked. It's been out for a little while, but they just dropped like a multiplayer thing, so it kind of came back into the spotlight. It's a ARPG, but it's pretty fun. It's kind of got like a Souls-like feel to it, where it's a little tougher.
Okay.
Kind of leads into a little bit of what we're going to be talking about today, with like the toughness of games as opposed to back in the day. But it just kind of, I don't know. It's got a good feel to it. It's got a good story to it. I like it. The only thing, I'm kind of getting more into the end game now, and that seems really slow, which is going to turn me off real fast. Like the end game is like this corruption thing that can pop up, but I think it only pops up like once per day, which that won't fly. I'm not. Otherwise, you just log in, clear out the corruption, and then you're done for the day.
That's lame.
And that seems like it would kind of suck. But
hopefully, that's not the whole end game.
Yeah, I don't know. I've also been, kind of doing a few other things here and there. Me and my stepson was really excited about some movie that came out this weekend. So he bought tickets and wanted me to go see it with him. So I took him to go see it last night. It's called Iron Lung. It's based on a video game that's like kind of short, where I guess the premise is like everything, like all the worlds die off and very few people are surviving, and there's like this planet with a sea of blood, and they're investigating this sea of blood. You're a prisoner that's looking, you get locked in this like iron lung submarine. You're like welded in, and they put you down into the sea of blood, and you're looking for something, but you don't know what. And yeah, that's the premise of it. And
when you said iron lung, I thought of a documentary about the iron lung.
No. It's kind of like got a sci-fi feel, a little like psychoactive weirdness to it. The entire movie takes place with one guy inside of a submarine that's maybe the size of my kitchen. The whole movie takes place in there, and it's kind of oddly good. Like, I was pretty invested in it. I still have no clue what was going on or what the plot of the movie was, but like, I was entertained for the whole 2 hours.
I'm gonna have to read into this.
It was like some special like screening movie that apparently was like, it broke records for the most fake blood in a movie because of the sea of blood and stuff. And I don't know. It was made on like a $3 million budget.
Yeah, I just Googled Iron Lung movie and went to the images tab, and there's a guy covered in blood.
Yep. It's funny because there's parts in the movie where like he gets injured and you can't even tell because there's so much blood that you don't even know if it's his or well, it's just blood everywhere.
That is
But
weird.
it was actually a really good movie. I enjoyed it, even though I had absolutely no clue what the plot was or what was going on, even after watching the whole movie. But it was good. My stepson really liked it. I guess it's written and directed by some guy that he follows, based off the game, like I said.
Oh, okay. So I looked at the film synopsis, and the quick synopsis is survivors of the apocalypse send a convict in a small submarine to explore a desolate moon that's an ocean of blood.
That's basically what I said.
Hmm. That
But
is the plot.
yeah, but there's a reason. Like he's after something, and they're very adamant that he gets them that thing, and you never find out what it was or what it's for. It's like I don't know what he's trying to get. I was so confused, but it was good. I don't know, the movie was cool and it like kept you on the edge of your seat and you were like really enthralled. I'll give it that. But there was definitely a demographic of people that were there, that was for sure. Like I walked out of there and it was like I'm looking around at all the people that are coming out with me and it's like, wow, this is worse. I won't say worse because I really enjoy going to Comic Cons and stuff, but like there are more nerds in this one movie theater than you would ever see at Comic Con. Like every single one of those guys were like, wow, these guys are nerds. Like, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but like
Should have went wearing your
you
ask
knew
me
they
about
were
my
all
podcast
nerds.
shirt.
You get the feeling that almost that every single other person in that theater lived in their mom's basement. Just saying. But yeah, it was kind of good. I also started watching the show Landman. I'm obsessed with that show. Like,
I heard it's supposed to be really good.
it's so good. I only have a couple episodes left until I'm done with the first. Well, there's only 2 seasons, but done with both the seasons. It's really, really good.
That's good.
Um, I don't know. It gives you a definite. I'm surprised you haven't watched it. Living in Texas, the entire show is about Texas.
That doesn't mean I'm going to watch it.
I know, but like you'd think it would be. As a native Texan, you'd
Dude,
be like, "Oh, I gotta watch this Texas."
I just caught up on NCIS Origins and NCIS, and I just started watching The Rookie. So there's a lot of stuff I haven't been
Oh,
watching that I should watch.
you probably still haven't watched Chad Powers.
I started watching that. I got through episode 1.
So funny. Show is so funny. Oh, you gotta finish it. It's not that long. It's a pretty
No,
short show,
it's 8 episodes.
and they're only like half hour.
It's 8 quarters, that's all.
Yeah,
The way they labeled the episodes, quarter 1, quarter
drove me
2.
crazy. I don't even. Is there 8? I thought there was only 6.
It might only be
I
6.
think it's only 6 episodes.
Yep, only 6.
Yeah, but yeah. So, I mean, I've been kind of just flopping around. I was playing a little bit of World of Warcraft yesterday, just for something to do. Yeah, because the
Whoa.
new expansion comes out in like just over a month. So I was like, maybe I'll check it out a little bit before the new expansion comes out.
Yeah,
So I was playing that for a little while. About it. I mean,
that's so exciting.
you know,
Being sick makes it such an exciting couple of weeks. Well, at least
I
what?
don't know. Well,
The 11th was our last main episode.
yeah, it's
What?
been a little while. 'Cause, I mean, I know we skipped 2 weeks because we were sick.
Yeah. Well, technically 2 weeks of recording, 3 weeks of actual videos being released.
Yeah. And another sad news that is unrelated to the nerd world, but anybody who's heard me talk on the show about my absolutely obnoxious, annoying dog that gets into everything and is the biggest pain in my butt. I still love the dog. He's still my little homie, and we had to put him down on Friday because he had
Oh.
lymphoma. And it was a very sad experience for me and my family, but now my other dog is just kind of, I don't know, she's taking it better than we thought, but she's still, you can tell, sad. And she met
Yeah. Did y'all go back when they put the dog down and surrounded
We were
the?
all back with him and stuff, and then my wife and my 4-year-old went out into the lobby when they actually did it, and then me and the other 2 boys stayed in there with him and until the end. So
That's the hardest thing, from what I've heard from different veterinarians, is when they got to put a dog down and the owners don't want to be in the room with them, and then the dog's looking around as it's starting to go under.
yeah, we
Yeah, that
stayed there
sucks.
with him, and
That's good.
he just it was not it was crazy how fast it goes. It's like 20 seconds, and he was immediately like as soon as they started pushing the fluid, like he immediately closed his eyes and just laid right down. And then like 20 seconds later, she checked his heart rate and
Yeah.
he was gone. But I mean, we had some good times with him, and he was actually pretty sweet in the end. So, like he wasn't near as much of a troublemaker. For the last couple weeks, he wasn't getting into near as many things, and he wasn't near as much of a troublemaker. But
How old was he?
7,
Oh, so he lived a decent life.
yeah, he wasn't super old, but he just, I mean, he got lymphoma really bad where he had big lumps all the way up his throat.
Mm,
He wouldn't eat. He wouldn't like it hurt him to eat. You could tell his breathing started getting pretty labored, and he got super, super skinny. So we're like,
yeah.
yeah, we're just gonna have to help him along. So
End of suffering.
yeah, well,
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the day I lose Ezzy.
I'm not planning on getting another one or anything like that. We're just keeping Izzy and Ezzy. We're just keeping Izzy, and she's loving all the extra attention she's getting lately. And like I was doing some meal preps this week or for this week, and I cut up a couple porterhouse steaks, and she got both of the bones. She's loving
Oh,
that, and
yeah.
so,
Ezzy's my co-pilot back there.
yeah,
She anytime I'm in this office because I leave the door open, she will jump into that chair and lay there the entire time I'm in my office.
yeah,
So if I go on one of my days of binging outside of when she needs to get up and go potty, or when I get up to go move around a little bit, she will stay in that chair. And it's like,
yeah,
why? Go do stuff.
yeah. My dog's just laying on her bed right here next to me,
That's good.
just chilling. That's what she does most of the time. But- So, what have you been up to for these couple weeks
Well,
of sickness?
let's see. Our last episode, that following weekend, I got sick. So a couple of weeks ago, I Friday rolled around and I just wasn't feeling the greatest. It started getting worse and worse. That Saturday rolled around and that's where my fever and everything hit, and coughing up a storm. And then I got to where I could function, but I just couldn't stop coughing and get sleep. So I was exhausted at work all the time. And then we had that ice storm hit, the great ice storm of 2026, which Texas really didn't get hit too hard south of Fort Worth.
So you got a little bit of snow. It was white.
Maybe an inch,
Yeah.
maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches. But the roads got really icy, which is typical for these kind of storms in Texas. And the snow didn't build up to where you could do anything substantial where I live. I mean, North South Carolina, Georgia, they all got hit a lot harder than we did. They got,
We didn't get hard. We got nothing up here.
and then I got a friend of mine that lives in Rhode Island, and she's showing me she has like a few feet of snow.
Yeah. All we got was severely cold temperatures, like -15, -20. Like cold,
That's
cold,
just crazy
cold.
that it got cold and y'all didn't get much snow.
Mm-mm.
But no, my friend Miss Blondie, she actually showed me a picture of her house, or the outside of her house. And it's one of those picturesque country cottages styles where you see the snow on the ground, the trees without their leaves, and snow on the trees. And it's like,
Mhm.
I wish I could have that here one day.
Yeah,
Just one day. I don't want to do all the work to maintain it.
just one day. No thanks. You can have
Then,
it.
so last week, Friday, not last week, Friday, the week before Friday, when that winter storm hit, they started letting people leave at around lunch so they could get home safely and prepare for the weekend. They canceled. That was my OT weekend, and they canceled that because they're worried about traffic and whatnot. And I'm glad they did because the roads were crap except for the interstate.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, you guys aren't prepared for stuff down like you guys don't have all the salt trucks and stuff like that we have up here.
they've ever since I think 2021 they invested heavily in it after they had that huge pile up on I-35. Um, but it's nowhere near what y'all have because y'all get it a lot more often than we
Right.
do. So they shut everything down. That's when I got sick. And then this past week, I didn't go to work Monday because, weather. Tuesday, I went into work because the roads are clear enough for me to drive safely. Uh, and we had like a third of all the teams show up. And then Wednesday, more people showed up. And Thursday, Friday, it was normal days. So that was a normal week. But on the days off, I actually, like I said earlier, caught up on NCIS Origins, watched 1 or 2 episodes of Star Trek, Strange New Worlds. I watched Star Trek Academy or Star Trek Starfleet Academy, and I actually liked it because they have characters that are going against the typical norm of the stereotypes of the races. But they have the one character I questioned the most on how it worked was they have a half Jem'Hadar, half Klingon character.
Huh.
Now, 900 years of time passed. It is very, very, very plausible that the Jem'Hadar started moving away from the white and actually making it where they can reproduce and not be sterile. Because the character is the offspring of a male Jem'Hadar and a female Klingon, and she is just the coolest character because she has the uh, the want of not failing from the father, and then the having being prepared to die from the mother, and it's like those clash a little bit there.
Yeah.
Always be ready for battle, and today is a good day to die. So be ready to fight and don't worry about dying.
That
But I actually
sounds
like it.
interesting.
it's actually it's actually the story actually is actually really good. I need to finish watching Strange New Worlds. I watched the first. Did I watch the second? I don't remember. I watched the first episode, but I'm not sure if I started the second of Chad Powers. Started watching The Rookie with Nathan Fillion. That's actually a good show.
I don't know why you're surprised.
You would think.
He does nothing but good shows.
Yeah, but that's really all I've done. I downloaded Star Wars Genesis and started playing that, and it's amazing the quality of work they did to this mod package for Starfield. I had to go and buy Starfield for Steam to use it,
Yeah.
but it was actually really well done. There are some things that push me away from make me lose the immersion, and that's just when they're using new lines of dialogue and the motions of the face don't fully match, or they make it act weird, so that way when it's talking to new dialogue lines it looks like they're talking, and then when they go back to saying their normal stuff they say in the game it actually speaks normally. But like Walter is a blue guy. the
Blue
kid,
guy?
yeah, I forgot the name of the race, but
Like a
he's
Rhodian?
no,
Huh?
I think they're called Chiss,
Okay.
Chiss. So he is one of them. Uh, the church dude in
Okay.
Constellation, he is dressed as a Jedi. He looks like he wants to be a Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
The robot looks like an assassin droid. I think it's the one from Rogue One.
Okay.
Uh, New Atlantis is the main area I've been so far, and it looks like Coruscant. It doesn't look like a city in the middle of the planet. It literally looks like you're in a section of the planet-wide city. So they did a pretty good job with that one.
Well,
I haven't
what does our girl Andrasia look like?
I have not unlocked her yet. Gotta let me get further into the game. uh the They call Earth Geonosis, or no, not Earth. Earth is Tarsus, um, or Terrace, whatever they call it. Mars is Geonosis. Um,
Okay.
those are the only places I've really explored so far. So as I get further along in the game, I'll talk more about it and I'll add screenshots into the video and stuff. But really, that's all I've been really doing this past couple of weeks.
Oh, okay.
That and I did my taxes.
Yeah, I'm doing mine in a couple days.
Yeah, I just did mine tonight. I'm getting 10 cents back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't spend it all in one bubblegum machine.
No, I'm not getting 10 cents, but with today's economy, it feels like 10 cents.
Yeah, I hear you.
But yeah. All right. So we have a topic to get into. Uh I won't lie. I asked AI to give me some nerdy ideas for the podcast, and it came up with one I thought was actually a pretty interesting one to talk about. And so I deep dove all of the information needed for it. It's I could come up with a better name for it, but AI said modern nerdy media has no stakes. And
It's not wrong.
yeah, it's not. And it's bashing on a lot of them, but it explains why. So we'll get into the first part. And the first section is permanence stakes. It's action or results and actions don't feel permanent. Like death doesn't feel permanent in a lot of movies these days.
Yeah, we live in the age of retcon.
Hmm.
They retcon everything.
They do.
Like, if you've ever seen any of the Fast and the Furious movies, for one huge prime example is anybody who dies in like the first 4 or 5 movies is back by the end.
Yeah.
They're not dead. They're back. They come back somehow.
Yeah. Lord of the Ring, the examples I found, Lord of the Rings, you feel the death of Boromir because he doesn't come back. But Gandalf, if you knew the Lord of the Rings, you would know Gandalf is a different person when he comes back. But for the average person, Gandalf comes back, and if you go to rewatch it, it's like, I know he comes back.
But he never dies. I mean, he fights the Balrog.
He doesn't die, but he's not the same person.
Yeah, he comes back as Gandalf the White.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into the backstory and the lore of Lord of the Rings for his change and all of that. But the Avengers, that doesn't feel permanent when people die and then you go back in time, you time travel to get all the stones and undo the snap. And the
Yeah.
only person that you feel dies, well, when it happened in Endgame, I felt sad for Robert Downey Jr.'s character when Peter dies. because Tom
Oh, when
Holland
he got
portrayed that.
snapped.
Yeah, Tom Holland portrayed that perfectly. But
I mean, even Gamora, when she gets thrown off the thing for the stone, like
Mhm.
then she come because of the dual timeline, she comes from the other timeline and now she's alive again. But yet they want us to believe that Black Widow is dead for good, and so is Tony Stark.
Yeah, I don't get those.
Why can't they just go get the one from the other timeline of them too? Like, I mean,
Exactly.
I don't know.
Eh,
Anytime you introduce time travel and alternate dimensions, you open yourself up for
Comic
a
books,
lot.
I see, and that's the problem with making movies off comic books. Is comic books, you have to have a way to keep people invested in those comics. And if you kill off a character in the comic and you're not prepared to fill that spot right away, you've got to have a way of bringing that character back. Hence the reason why there's so many multiverses in the DC and Marvel universes.
Yep,
The point here is if loss or failure can be reversed, why be invested in the story?
exactly.
Uh, and I put a note in here, and the reason I put a note in here is because it reminds me a lot of video game hardcore mode versus easy mode.
Yeah, for sure. Like when you're playing, if you're playing a game on hardcore mode, which and for those you don't know, hardcore mode means you die, you're done. You lose your
Mhm.
character, you have to start over. And when you're playing a game on hardcore mode, you are paying more attention to what you are doing than you've ever
Mhm.
done to anything else in your life because the slightest little slip up and you lose hours, days worth of work.
Mhm.
It's tough. Like I've played like Path of Exiles 2, I've played a hardcore character. I didn't get it very high because it was it was too nerve-wracking, man. Like
Yeah.
gives you anxiety.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. And then easy mode where you're handheld through the thing, given so many potions to stay alive. Or when you die, you just start from a save point.
Uh-huh.
All right. The next section is the multiverse time travel resurrection problem. We already hit on a lot of these. The multiverse has infinite backups, going to pull those characters from another universe. Then you got time travel, which they do this a lot. And Star Trek Voyager was extremely guilty of this. But it actually made for a really good, where you could do a really good story on one of the episodes called The Year of Hell. And the Voyager's just getting really screwed up fighting. And then at the end, they're fighting this time ship. They blow it up and it resets the entire galaxy's time back to when this race started manipulating time in general. But see, that
I
one,
don't like a lot of shows and movies and stuff. I don't like when they introduce time travel into it because it just ruins the premise of the entire movie.
it
And
does.
a big example of that, okay, I'll use Harry Potter for instance.
Mhm.
When they introduced the whole time turner thing because Hermione's going back in time so she could take more classes, right?
Mhm.
But no one ever thought of all these people getting killed and murdered and everything from Voldemort coming to power. Nobody thought, let's use one of those things to stop Voldemort from ever coming to Hogwarts and learning magic to begin with. Nobody thought
Mhm.
that that would be a good idea. Like when you introduce time travel, you just introduce problems because it just creates plot holes.
I mean, take a look at who the people who did time travel right is Back to the Future. You go back in time, you change something that happened back in time, and it affects the future.
Right.
And it affected the future. Star Trek, the new spin-off Star Trek, the Kelvin universe, actually did a fairly good take on it where uh Leonard Nimoy's Spock goes back in time to try preventing the destruction of Romulus, and it completely changes the timeline to a different arc. So
Yeah,
stuff
and
like
that's
that.
the way Marvel did it too, where they're like, "Oh, well, you can't go back and change time. All you could do is create a new timeline."
hmm And that's why you got so many different multiverses, because you keep making all these different timelines.
It's so like when you introduce time travel, it makes everything confusing, and it makes, like I said, so many plot holes.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, like when Voldemort takes over the Ministry, why doesn't he use one of those? Like, I know there's all the laws governing them, so but he doesn't care about laws. So when he takes over and has access to all these time machines, basically, why doesn't he just go back and take over the world? Like it just, like, they mention it and then they just like completely forget about it.
Yep. But then again, there's time travel where they go back in time and reset everything. And it's like, I hate to say the ones where they go back in time and create all these different time travel timelines is the way to go, but that is the way to go, because going back in time and just resetting everything to where it looks like nothing happened, that is annoying.
Do you know one movie that I will say did time travel really well and I really liked it? Timeline.
Oh, I would hope so. It's all about time travel stuff.
Yeah, but that movie, I loved that movie so much. You know which movie that is, right? With
I
Paul Walker and Gerard Butler, where they go back to
think
like
I've seen
medieval
that. Yeah,
times.
I
And
think
like
I've
at the
seen it.
beginning, he's like an archaeologist, and Gerard Butler's like an archaeologist, and he's like, um, he uncovers this tomb of this unknown king and stuff like that that's missing an ear and all that, and then later finds out when he goes back in time that he is that person. Like, that's him, that's his tomb and stuff. It's like so sweet. Like, I love how they do that.
That would actually make sense. What was it? I was thinking of something else that did time travel right. I can't think of it now. But one that does it horribly wrong, but it's still a good movie. Uh, Terminator.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So my next point on this in this group is the magic resurrection. It's really, it can be a problem for stories and making people invested in the story. Uh, but it also in video games is good for just keeping the fun going and learning the stories without having to go back and replay it. Um, I use the example of Baldur's Gate 3. When a party member dies, you can just go back to the skeleton dude and have him revived or
Yeah. See,
resurrected. Yeah.
the problem I have with resurrection games is when they do it, but yet also in the same story they talk about how, oh, so and so was such a great king, he died too early, I wish he was still around. Why didn't you resurrect him? You
Yeah.
resurrected my priest 6 times. Why didn't you resurrect the king that everyone adored? Like, it's like, it's when things like that that don't make sense to me. Like, or in like World of Warcraft, there's so many different characters who have died that are like major characters, and they become like this huge, oh, this big monster part of the plot. Why didn't you just resurrect him? I battle res every fight I'm in. Why can't you have? Why didn't you resurrect him? Like,
Yeah,
I
see,
don't get it.
there's that, but see, D&D has that same issue where, all right, cool, you got knocked down, you're dying, you still have your full body. I'm going to resurrect you within this in this minute before your body completely perishes. All right, cool, but yet this character, nobody can seem to get the magic he needed to be revived, and it takes to me. It takes away from the story when you know this is something that can be done on a regular basis in a
Exactly. It's
in a
like
story.
you gotta set, like, it makes sense if you set limitations to it. Like, oh, you can
Mhm.
only be resurrected within such and such time by a priest who drank the holy water from whatever. Cool. That makes sense then, and I understand why you just resurrected me but couldn't resurrect him. But when they like just completely ignore the rules for some situations but not others, it's like,
Mhm.
this doesn't make any sense. Like,
Yeah.
where's the res? Like, why are we just gonna let this dude is pivotal to the world? Why are we letting him die when you can resurrect this guy in battle that is unneeded? This rogue that got caught sneaking. You resurrect him, but this dude who's pivotal to the world, oh man, let's have a
Wait.
funeral.
Here's the best take on that one. Lord of the Rings Online follows the story parallel to you're playing your character story parallel to the companions' travel. So why is it I run with some friends, we're fighting this main fight, and he can battle res me every so often, but they couldn't battle res Boromir? Yeah, exactly. So it's like we need continuities. Exactly. But that takes away from the stakes of the game of the story to where you're not really fully you're invested in the actual story, but not in the action. And in some cases, it does take away from the story. So we're going to keep moving on because you are on a time limit. We have some time still, though. The next one is really interesting to me, and it's plot armor. Growing up, I really didn't notice the plot armor then. However, these days, it's very noticeable. You can tell who's not going to die.
That's because plot armor back in the day didn't really exist. Like, anybody was fair game in a movie or a game back in the day. Like, people would die all the time, and you were like, holy cow, I can't believe they just kill off that character. Nowadays, if the person is the top billed person in the movie, you know that the entire building can blow up around them and they will walk out some.
I use some very generic examples. I put the best pilot survives an unreal accident. Yeah. Aliens seem to miss their shots when they're perfectly lined up on the guy. Or, and the most infamous missing of everything ever, stormtroopers from Star Wars. Yeah. They can hit everything else, but they cannot hit the main characters whatsoever.
Yeah.
I will preface that with modern stormtroopers actually don't miss their targets as often as the original series, the original trilogy.
The original trilogy, they were notoriously bad.
Mm-hmm. But in contrast, Game of Thrones, your favorite characters tend to die off all the time. You don't, for those who never read the books, you didn't know who was going to live or who was going to die.
Let's be fair to stormtroopers a little bit, though. Imagine yourself wearing a stormtrooper helmet, and there's, well, just this is all you can see. It's just little, and it's like you're wearing sunglasses inside all the time. Like, it's hot. You're probably sweating in your eyes. I can understand why they miss so much. Like, why are they wearing those helmets? Like, for real. Like, take it off. You'd be able to aim way better.
When they're shooting the main characters, they fail the laws of average.
But it's like, because they can't see. Like, I wouldn't be able to see wearing one of those helmets inside at night.
With how many shots they took at the heroes, you'd think they would have actually hit one of them.
I don't know. Depends. Like I said, they probably had sweat in their eyes, and there's a lot of factors that could have went into that. We don't know. Like, I've put on a stormtrooper helmet before, and you can't see jack. I wouldn't be able to shoot in one of those things either. Not
Fair
accurately,
enough.
At least.
Fair enough. But in Rogue One, they seem to be fairly accurate.
I don't know. Maybe they got better lenses.
Yeah, they got better lenses when they went back in time, and then they switched to crappier lenses as they progress. Now, I actually use some plot armor. For plot armor, I use some video games. Uncharted series, Nathan seems to survive some crazy stuff that no normal human would ever.
Yeah, Uncharted is basically the male Tomb Raider.
Yeah, but okay, Tomb Raider, Uncharted, all of those characters seem to survive stuff. You're like, there is no way if this was real, somebody would have survived that.
Right.
I mean, I played
Even
the newer Tomb Raider. I sat there and called it the Lord Prof Death Simulator because the stuff she was going through, if you didn't do it right, she would die. And it's like, geez.
Yeah.
But you never feel the consequences of your actions in that game. You never feel like you're going to lose Nathan at any point in that game.
Yeah, because if you die, you just respawn at the last checkpoint.
Yep. Call of Duty, the Modern Warfare campaigns, teammates run through gunfire and don't go down. Because, story, they have to survive.
Yeah.
Scripted moments where you just can't fail. But that's scripted, so you're not going to be able to fail those areas. Another one was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Boss fights look dramatic, but rarely threaten you. I watch a lot of people play Assassin's Creed. I played Assassin's Creed, and the boss fights really were never hard. They looked cool, but it's
I
one of
never
those.
really got into that series, but I've heard a lot about how easy the boss fights actually are.
Mm-hmm. And then Starfield, I put these as Starfield and Skyrim as the same thing because your companions, when they're getting wounded, don't die in combat. They just go down on a knee. Like they took an arrow in the knee. The only time a companion in Starfield dies is when it's part of the story. And that's a devastating part because it actually makes you make a choice. Do you want to save your significant other or do you want to save the guy up in the space station? And it's like, ooh, it actually makes you think on that one. So that one does make you feel like there's a consequence to your actions because they're going to die. And then in Skyrim, this is notorious. Essential NPCs can't die. Now, NPCs in general can, but essential ones they can't die.
Yeah,
And
because you need them to progress the story.
yeah, so it takes away from the story. It takes away from the stakes of the game a little bit when that NPC can't die, but this one that's been running around and doing stuff for me dies.
Have you ever seen that video or that meme going around about how anytime you order a pizza, you're essentially creating a quest?
Yes. You are an NPC creating a quest for someone.
You're giving them a quest and offering them a reward of money at the end.
It's a fetch quest of all things.
Fetch quest, yes.
Nowadays, it's really a
Do
fetch
this
quest.
pizza and bring it here.
It's really a fetch quest these days when you use Instacart and they actually have to go shopping for you.
Or DoorDash, like, yeah, they got to go pick up your food and bring it to you. Yeah.
All right. So the next segment is going to be where you're going to do a lot of the talking. Video games and their tendencies of hand-holding.
Well,
Modern versus older.
That's pretty obvious. Like, the video games have literally they pander to people. Like, they're way too easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you look at a list of like the top 10 hardest games of all time, almost all of them are old school Nintendo games because you get one life, or some games you get like 3 lives at most, and then if you die, you start over at the very beginning and have to try again. Like, that's the way it was. And nowadays it's like, oh, well, we're going to create all these checkpoints and save points, and even the games that people call like hard, like the Souls games, things like that. Like, there's still checkpoints. If you go and do something that you die, you go back to your last save. Like, there's no real like challenge. I mean, there's a challenge. Obviously, there's challenges to it, but like, it's not like it used to be in the days when it was like you started over and you had to get through the 5-6 hours to get back to where you were if you wanted to win. Like Ninja Gaiden, that's a hard game.
Yeah, it is.
It's a very hard game.
Even the more modern ones are hard.
Battletoads, or the most notorious game of all time, Silver Surfer. It was glitchy, and if you died, you lost. 1 life. That's it. That's all you had. Like, it would glitch and you'd die and you'd be like, because now you got to start the
See,
game all over.
that's one thing I noticed is especially puzzles in the games, the older games, you had no direction of what you had to do with the puzzle. You might have had this obscure clue you had to read and figure out, and then go
Yeah.
figure out that puzzle on your own. Nowadays, you go somewhere, they give you a breakdown of what the puzzle needs to actually be and how to solve it,
Right.
and
And that,
tells you
like,
what to do.
back in the day when I used to play EverQuest back in the day, an expansion would come out and you had to figure out how to beat the boss. You had to figure out what to do. Back in the day, EverQuest used to be stupid hard because if you died, you'd drop all your stuff and you'd have to try and get back to where you were. And if you were up in like one of the plains or something, corpse retrieval sucked. But if you didn't retrieve your corpse, you lost everything. Like, there was consequence. Now even EverQuest is like, oh yeah, you know, when you die, you resurrect with all your stuff and you go back to your last, like, wherever you bound yourself. And it's even that they pandered to the casual player and made even that easier, like on the games that used to be tough.
Yeah, that's the same with WoW. WoW used to be you died, you had to go back to your thing and get all your stuff back, and you were a ghost when you had to run back,
Oh, I remember that you were like the ghost and
and you
you
had to
ran
run
back to
back
your
to your
corpse.
body to be
Yeah,
able to
you
get
had
all
to
your
run back
stuff.
to your body. But like, I mean, nowadays, like,
Nowadays, you just appear in the resurrection circle and just run back to where you died to fight what
yeah,
killed you.
yeah.
Um,
But you
wh-
didn't. At least you didn't like drop your corpse and lose everything in WoW.
if you respawned yourself without going back to your body, yeah, you did.
No, you still had all your stuff. You
You sure?
respawned with all your stuff.
Could've
You just
sworn.
had resurrection sickness, and you had to wait like 5 minutes before you could actually do anything because you were weak, like super weak.
Could've sworn you lost your stuff if you resurrected yourself after you respawned.
No,
Uh,
no. The only game I remember doing that was EverQuest, and it was brutal. Corpse runs were brutal, especially on 56K modems. Like, by the time you'd load into zones, sometimes you'd be dead, and you'd be like,
how about this one? Knowing where to go for your quest. Back in the day,
"Oh,
you could not,
yeah,
you didn't know where to go. You had to figure it out running around this whole map trying to figure out where you got to go. And then nowadays you got a glowing, sparkly trail to follow. You have an arrow pointing you
yeah." There's
direction.
like a big circle that shows you it. Oh, it's in this area, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, back in the day, like, you use the community, like, you guys all would talk and be like, "Hey, you know, I'm working on this. Anybody find this?" Like, you'd work together to try and solve things. Now they just made it easy.
Back in the day, you had to call the Nintendo hotline to get help.
The Nintendo hotline. Bust out your Nintendo power and get the number from the back and get your rotary phone out.
Man,
Oh,
we old, but man, we're in that
yeah,
generation that got to use rotary phones and all that, and all the new
yeah.
stuff. I put on here for older games versus newer games. I put enemies actually picking, uh, getting advantages over the player, and I put Pokemon as my prime example. And this has been one of my biggest arguments through this
Oh, I hate it
entire game
too.
series.
I hate it too.
Back in Red and Blue and Yellow, you picked a Pokemon, your rival picked the Pokemon that was strong against yours. These days, your rival picks the Pokemon that's weak against yours and makes moves that are really stupid against you. And there's no real challenge against your rival.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And even like with Pokemon ZA, like, you have to keep battling your friends all the time, and they're like, "Oh, well, we'll see who the strongest is." What do you mean? I've beat you 8 times already. What are we trying to prove here?
Mm-hmm.
We got to see who's the strongest to see who's going to go up against so and so. We know who the strongest is. I've destroyed you 8 times now. Like,
I
this isn't a contest.
In Red and Blue, I lost to my rival a couple of times because I wasn't prepared for the fight. I didn't have the potions I needed and all that. I go
Yeah.
in Pokemon Sword and Shield. I went up against my rival, and every time I had him beat, I switched Pokemon just because I wanted to use a different Pokemon.
Yeah. And I remember back originally, like in like the original like Red and Blue, you
Mhm.
only got experience on whichever Pokemon fought in that battle.
Yeah, and
Now it's
so
like when you win a battle, every single Pokemon on your team gets experience for it. It's like this is just too easy.
it's like, all right, cool. I get you're making it geared to kids, but a lot of adults play these games.
Yeah,
Have
more
a
adults
setting
play
or something.
Pokemon than kids, to be honest with you.
They need to
Like
put
I
a
would say, it's have a setting. Like
the hardest thing ever was leveling up Magikarp so you could get Gyarados.
oh, now it's super easy.
Yeah, now you just leave him in your
Because all he
party.
could do before was splash. And
And
now he
even
actually like just gets experience from being in your group. It's like, oh yeah,
yeah,
hey, he's ready to evolve.
I remember having to throw the weak Pokemon out and then hope to God that the Pokemon I threw out next didn't get one shot because I'm going up against somebody stronger than what I should have been, just
Yeah,
so
it
he could get
was.
enough experience.
Yeah, the games nowadays are just like they're catered to people
The very casual player.
that want to beat it easy in a casual way. Like, I mean, I applaud games like World of Warcraft because they cater to to people just like every other game. They have their raid finder and stuff like that to
Mhm,
make it easy so that people can still raid even if they don't want to beat a guild and don't have time to beat a guild. But then they also have like your mythic raids for the people who want a challenge and want to play the game tough
mhm.
and like actually try hard. Like I like that they do that. They give you the option. If you want to be a casual, fine. But if you want to play hard, we got you.
Some games I've seen in recent years have actually had the question, do you want to play for the story or do you want a challenge? And the story mode is really easy
Mm-hmm.
and all that. And then you get the challenge. It's like, oh man, the story's cool. I need to go back to story mode so I can learn the story and then come back to this.
Yeah, even No Rest for the Wicked has like a hard mode. Like
Mhm.
it's not hardcore where you die you lose, but they have a hard mode. And I'm glad they don't have a hardcore because I would probably lose my mind in that game on hardcore because the game is tough. But like I am just playing it on normal right now, but I think I'm gonna try it on hard here pretty soon now that I'm at the
Halo.
end game and it's like me.
Halo, you got normal mode. Then you got legendary mode. Legendary mode, trying to play to where you keep every single Marine alive is nearly impossible.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, what like there are big studios that do stuff like that, but one thing I have noticed is like the indie studios, they still do it right.
Mhm.
Like, I don't care who you are, if you've never played Hollow Knight or Silksong, you are not going to pick up that game and just walk through it. You're not. You just plain aren't. That game is so stupid hard. It's tough. It is very, very tough. You have to literally build up the muscle memory to beat some of these bosses because you're not going to do it otherwise. You're not one-shotting most of these bosses.
Okay,
They're
that's
just
actually good though that they're
hard.
doing that. Um, I actually need to get that game. Uh,
Which one? Hollow Knight or Silksong?
both.
Yeah. I would start with Hollow Knight, but like, yeah, Silksong, some of those bosses,
All right. So another thing is we brought it up multiple times so far is older games. You have a lot fewer save points than you do modern games. Modern
yep,
games, you always have a save point before you go into the final boss.
always.
That was not the case when we were growing up. You would make it to the boss and your previous save is like 5 levels previous.
Most games it was like levels and you'd make it to the boss and if you didn't win, you went back to the start of that level. Like
Yeah.
you had to go through that whole level again.
Mega Man X.
Yep. All
You
the Mega
make
Mans, yeah.
Yeah, you make it all the way to the boss and you lose, you have to redo that entire run again.
Yep.
And
All the Mega
hopefully you
Mans are
don't
like that.
lose all your life while you're trying to get through that run again.
One thing that I'm really excited for, a game that I'm really looking forward to, is Resident Evil Requiem.
Mhm.
And one thing that's been bugging me about the Resident Evil series is how easy they're making it. But Requiem is going back to the old school staple of you only get so many ink ribbons to save with.
Mhm.
So you got to be careful when you use your ink ribbons
Oh,
because
nice.
you only have a limited number of them.
Oh, that's awesome. That's actually pretty
So
smart they're doing that.
yeah, I'm super excited about that. I know it's going to be harder, but I'm going to love it. I can't wait for Requiem. I'm so stoked for that game.
I'm gonna say this one thing that has made modern games really easy, even some of the older games really easy, is the internet.
Yeah,
The
like
internet has
you
taken the
find
stakes out of
walkthroughs.
yeah, they take the stakes out of some of the games. Now there are times where I'll be playing an older game, I will get extremely frustrated because I can't figure out what I need to do, and I'll look it up and be like, "Oh yeah, I missed something back there that I had to go do before I got to this point."
Case in point, one of my Final Fantasy playthroughs I've been doing,
Mhm.
that Final Fantasy 2 game, if I didn't look up a walkthrough, I never would have beat that game because of the stupid little keywords that if you miss one, then you can't do anything until you go find that one particular keyword that could be in any city in the game anywhere that you just happen to miss. If I didn't have a walkthrough, like, and I didn't use the walkthrough to get through like play through the game, but if I got to a point like that where I was like, what the frick am I missing? I would look it up and I'd be like, oh, okay, I gotta go back 3 cities and talk to this one dude that's hiding in a corner in a building I never even saw to get a keyword. That's the problem. Like
Mhm.
that was ridiculous. And I couldn't even imagine trying to do that back in the day when you didn't have the internet.
But back in the day, at the same time, you are encouraged to do more exploration of these towns than you are in today's games. Today's games, you go into a town to go straight to your destination. There's no reason to stop and talk to every single person in that town.
Yeah. Most of the time nowadays, like games are so easy and so forgettable that like you could go through and beat a game and then I could be like, "Hey Rook, like what did you do in that game?" And you might be able to tell me one boss that stood out to you, but other than that you'd be like, "I don't know." Just beat
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's the sad part about a lot of modern games. I will say that some of the reasons I really like uh one of my favorite game series of all time is Mass Effect. Because and it goes against a lot of the stuff we're already talking about as to why the stakes are low in these games and whatnot, and in
Mhm.
affect our investment in these games. Mass Effect, if I don't do my end of the missions right, I can have characters die off and not be available in the next game. Um, my choices actually have consequences in the universe.
Yep, Fable.
Uh, yeah.
Same thing.
And it's both Fable, Mass Effect, they do a really good job of making you feel like your actions have
Feel the game,
consequences.
yeah.
And
That was
what it'll tell you what you need to do in the mission, but how you get there, it's not going to exactly tell you where you need to go.
that was one thing I kind of liked about Avowed because Avowed's the last game that came out that's really done the whole consequences of your choices thing.
Mhm.
I just don't think they took it to enough of a degree. Like your consequences had or your choices had consequences, but they weren't. You didn't feel them as hard as you did in like Fable or Mass Effect. Like I don't know. Like there were
Yeah.
some things that if you did, like would change the game. Like that one thing you found where you like in the second act or whatever, where you like
Oh yeah.
saved all those people. Like that was huge. Like I didn't know you could do that.
Oh, you're
I
talking
played
about
it
where I
totally
came across this camp early before I
yeah,
was supposed to.
yeah, and you ended up, like, saving all those people, like, that whole town burned in my game, like, it's like but
But that's
It-
where it comes back to. I like exploring the maps and finding all the hidden locations you can find, and that happened to be one of the things I came across that made an impact on the game further on.
Yeah,
Now,
I
I
really
wouldn't
feel
have
like
known
more
that.
games need to do that. The more games need to do the choices have
Consequences.
consequences.
Your actions
Like,
need to have consequences in these games.
because then you get invested in the game, and it gives you a reason to replay it. Because then you're like, oh well, what if I didn't do that? And then the next time
Mhm.
you play it differently, and you have a different gaming output. Like, that's huge. That's fun. People enjoy that. Like, a lot of games I'll beat, and then I'm like, okay, uninstall. There's no reason to play it again. Like, even Avowed, I never felt like there was really a reason to play. I will probably play through it again at some point, but it'll be a while. Like a game like Mass Effect or Fable, I played those like I know Fable 2, I played through it like 3 times in a row because I wanted to see what would happen if I did this instead
So that's
or
one thing.
changed all this.
MMOs don't do this a lot, but that's one thing I did like about the way they did Star Wars: The Old Republic, because your character story arcs were done in instances.
Yeah,
And so you could go in and make some decisions in an instance that would be affected in the next planet's instance or the next story arc instance you go into, which that's
literally for
awesome.
the rest of the time you play, it's affected. Like, you
I
could go
mean,
super dark, or you could go super light, or you could go a light, or you could go a Jedi that goes dark, or you could go a Sith that's good, or like, I mean, you could do all those different things, and they made a pretty big impact.
yeah. And I'm playing Knights of the Old Republic. I'm going to start playing that one and try different styles of playing and see how that goes. But
They
that
they're
is
remaking that, aren't they?
they've been remaking that for a while now. I'm waiting for it to come out. There
Yeah,
is a
same.
new Star Wars game coming out by 2030 called Fate of the Old Republic.
Oh, that'll be out way before 2030.
Yeah, but they're saying it will be out by 2030. They're saying that's their deadline they're giving themselves.
Yeah.
So the next section, because of time, the next section is the exceptions to this norm. This new norm anyway. And I used Andor because you have the chosen one safety net. There's no Force or Jedi to fall back onto in that TV series. The Empire is really competent in that series.
Yeah, I haven't watched that one
They
yet.
play hardcore into the spy stealth, the spy aspect of it. And
Uh-huh.
the Empire isn't like what you got from the original trilogy. They're really, really focused on succeeding on what they're doing. They're actually really evil. People die suddenly, unfairly, and permanently. And the wins in that series are small. But when you have a loss in that series, it's weighted heavier than any win they get.
Okay.
Because this leads up to Rogue One, the Star Wars story.
Oh,
This is a
yeah.
prequel story going into that. The Expanse, have you seen that? So The Expanse uses real life space physics, and physics in space kills. If you suddenly stop, you don't have an inertial dampener to save you. You're going to go splat because you're going to keep moving when the ship stops. Um, Ammo and fuel matters. Uh, you have to actually account. They actually have to account for their ammo and how much fuel they're burning when they're traveling and stuff. Political decisions affect the characters in that series. And then there's no miracle tech to save the day. It's all realistic space tech.
Right.
They put so you're a big fan of Dune, and they put Dune Part 2. I put Dune Part 2 in here, and it says I put the prophecy is terrifying. It's not one of those the prophecy says you're the chosen one. It's something that's actually terrifying to the characters. Um Victory creates future consequences. It affects the future. Paul
Fair.
winning is not framed as a clean win. Now,
Yeah.
and then the viewer feels the cost of Paul's decisions in that game or in that movie. The story is told in
Yeah.
a way that you actually feel the impact of those decisions ultimately.
Okay, I'll agree with that.
um, I wanted to add more. I was hoping you would add more to that. What you think?
I feel like the big, like, especially like gaming wise, like
Mhm.
the biggest like exceptions to the rule of the games getting easy are the games that are having, like, a lot of games are starting to go toward a hardcore mode, and I think that's smart
Mhm.
because it gives players that challenge that they want, as but they can still cater to their, like I said, pander to their other audience, which are a lot more casual, but they can also get to the hardcore people. Like, I try, like, I want to play some games on hardcore mode, but some games it's like, man, I don't know if I could deal with the anxiety and frustration. So it'd be so hard. But that's what I used to love as a kid, is those games that were super hard. Like,
So I think what is bringing that back in modern days is more so the Dark Souls and Elden Rings and the challenge people had with those,
yeah,
and
they're
that
tough.
and the
I
people
mean,
sitting here saying, the gamers saying, "Hey, we like these games because of how hard they are."
but now imagine if you had a game like Elden Ring and you put in a hardcore mode.
Dude, I would hate life.
I mean, I've seen people do flawless runs of that game, but like,
I watched a guy get to the very last fight, not taking a hit in the very last game and having to start all the way over again because he got hit one time.
mhm,
That's a serious hardcore that they had put themselves
yeah,
through. But I put the reasons in Dark Souls and Elden Rings beat the norm is death actually costs progress. You lose stuff when you die.
yeah, you lose your souls, all the
Yeah.
souls that you had. But if you can get back to where you were, you can recover them.
If you can get back to where you were.
Right.
Checkpoints in Dark Souls and Elden Rings are more scarce than they are in a lot of the easier games.
Very
Uh,
much so.
and the enemies really don't scale down to your level.
No.
There is no, it's like they're all rich really hard. And victory in that game is hard earned.
That's one thing I really like about, like, because they say No Rest for the Wicked is kind of a Souls like ARPG because of the toughness of it. But one thing I really like about it is that the difficulty, like, if you go into an area where it's like, oh, you should be level 6 before you go in this area, the mobs are going to be super tough to beat if you're not level 6. But
Mhm.
then once you get to level 6, after that, they scale with you. So if you're level 17, you go in there, they're level 17. Like, they're not level 6 still. You can't just roll stomp areas. Like, everything levels with you and gets harder.
See, that's
So
one
you don't
thing.
want to just sit there and grind and level because it's just going to make the game harder for you.
So that's one thing Star Wars: The Old Republic has done, and I've seen some other games do it. Is you go into a zone that they made leveling so easy that you're almost level 20 by the time you leave the starting area. It seems like,
Yeah.
and when you go to the areas now, they level cap they level cap the area you're in, so you might be level 22, but the area scales you down to level 15.
Yeah.
So they are doing some things to make it a little bit more challenging. But the most challenging game I've ever played that makes me actually care about my characters, XCOM and XCOM 2. Because you invest time into building up the skills of these characters and you make a false move and they die, they're dead. And then you got to go back to training up another character
Yeah.
to get them back up to the level these guys are.
There's also, like, arc raiders is another one where, like, you build up your stuff in that game and then, like, you get killed.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody just comes up and takes your stuff. Hey,
Yeah, see, I haven't
man,
really had that because I don't. I've played enough to where the game starts matching me with other like-minded players.
yeah.
Um, but in XCOM 2, permadeath for named characters, missed shots have consequences. So if you got a clean shot at something and you miss it, and they fire back, you're probably going to die. Um, timers can affect your decisions in this game and lead to permanent death consequences. And the losses compound over time because uh, as you're having to rebuild more of these ships, fighters late game, rebuild your military to be able to fight back. If you don't, it's game over.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of what was it, Dune? Dune game we were playing. Like you die out in the deep desert, you're kind of hosed. Like you lose your ornithopter, you lose all your stuff, like you lose everything, like all your gear, everything.
Yeah, you got to go back.
You got to remake everything. Or you get eaten by the worm.
Oh God, that's
everything.
All right, so looking at the time, you got to go to bed, sir. All right, so this is just I could have deep dove this hardcore and done
we could have went way further with this.
But it was our first episode back. I wanted to put a good topic together. Next week we'll probably do something not the same but similar on design. Let us know what you think. If you have any comments about all these, you can hit us up in our Discord, discord.gg/raw podcast. It'll be linked in the description below, or I'll even put it in the description of our podcast. If you are watching us on YouTube, like and share and subscribe. That'll help us out a lot.
Yeah, give us those 5 stars. We love those 5 stars.
Oh yeah, those 5 stars for the podcast. We gotta have them. Give us all your stars. All right, so that's all we got for y'all tonight, or this episode anyway. And you got anything else to add, sir?
No, sir.
All right. Well, I'm Rook with my buddy Archon. And for me, y'all stay nerdy.
Have a great week, guys.